Live with studios in Midland and Odessa, you're watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW West.
This allows
Texas.
businesses to recoup what would otherwise be lost revenue by having to throw that food away. And consumers can get great food at a lower cost, and then everyone can do their part for helping to reduce the impacts of food waste on the environment.
Launched in 2016 in Denmark, Too Good To Go started with the idea of reducing food waste for surplus food. In the last year, it's finally reached Texas. And in just a few minutes, we tell you how the program is helping lower costs and food waste in the Permian Basin. Thanks for joining us for CBS7 News on the CW, and thanks for joining us live on the CBS7 YouTube. I'm Lauren Munt, and we start tonight with a developing story out of Odessa. Odessa police are investigating a disturbance at the Ector County Annex this afternoon. OPD says that two people, Carmen Willite and Donna Kelm, are accusing each other of assault. Donna Kelm is a candidate for county chair of the Republican Party, while Carmen Willite is running for Precinct 203. The Ector County Republican Party has released a statement condemning the alleged assault, writing in part, quote, "There is a clear line that must never be crossed. Violence or the threat of violence has no place in our political process or in resolving disputes." Neither candidate involved in the alleged assault has released a statement yet, but will continue to keep you updated as the situation develops. For the full statement and more information, you can go to our website, cbs7.com. And coming up on CBS7 News at 10 this evening, candidates for Midland County Sheriff met for a debate on Basin PBS. That debate was hosted by CBS7's Mary Kate Hamilton. Be sure to tune in to CBS7 News at 10 for a full recap on the debate with Mary Kate Hamilton. And if you missed that, we'll have a full replay on KWWT My 30 Tuesday at 8 p.m. And tracking crime now, the Ector County Sheriff's Office found more than 10 kilograms of drugs in a car during a traffic stop last week. According to the Sheriff's Office, they stopped the car around West I-20 and South Moss Avenue on February 13th around 9 o'clock. Officers say that they found around 15 kilograms of cocaine. No further details have been released at this time. Stick with CBS7 on air and online as we learn more about the investigation. And Adam Ibarra was shot and killed by Pecos police in November. Earlier this month, the officers involved were not indicted in an investigation into their response. His family believes the situation could have gone differently. Ibarra's mother and brother were at his home that day, and they want to see changes in how police respond to people in crisis and hope that the same situation doesn't happen to another family. Ibarra faced bipolar disorder for much of his life. At the same time, his family said he was a loving father, a jack of all trades, and a true creative. He was at a low point when police arrived to his home. Police say that they were responding to an ongoing domestic dispute. Ibarra's mother said she called Pecos police, warning them.
And I had told him that he was bipolar, and then he had seizures, and then he wasn't on his medication at the time. And I asked him, I begged him to please not shoot him.
Carrasco believes that her pleas were lost in communication to officers. Ibarra did have a knife. His brother says he was de-escalating the situation at first, but alleges that he did not see the same reaction from police when they entered the home. Though the officers were not indicted, Ibarra's family wants to see the department seeking more mental health crisis training and awareness. And in your travel news, attention all flyers. If you've been to the airport this month, then you've probably noticed an increase in people flying in and out of the area. Midland International Air and Spaceport has received a federal grant of $2.8 million for new installations and improvements. The grants are part of the bipartisan infrastructure law to import 114 airports across the U.S. According to an announcement from the Biden-Harris administration, the award will fund approximately 70% of the design for the replacement and modernization of the terminal building's HVAC and related systems and passenger screening area.
The current grant that we just got is for $2.8 million for design. Design should take about a year before we break ground and start building.
It's said to be mostly glass, very open, and will fit cohesively with the current design. The plan is to have everyone checked in and screened on ground level and then get on an escalator after clearing security. In other updates, they have finished the restroom remodeling and are planning to work on parking improvements in the near future. And AAA is reporting gas prices are dropping in West Texas and across the rest of the state. According to the report from AAA, on average, Midland drivers can expect to pay around $2.96 a gallon. That's 13 cents less compared to last week. Meanwhile, drivers in Odessa are paying $2.92 a gallon. The highest price in the state is in El Paso, where drivers are seeing prices around $3.08 a gallon. The lowest average in Lubbock, where drivers are paying around $2.61. And now the average price of gas across the country currently stands at $3.27. Gas is around 1 cent less compared to last year's numbers, and gas prices are down by 7 cents per gallon in Texas compared to this time last year. We're going to take a pause and talk your weather forecast now with meteorologist Sawyer McElroy. Sawyer, it was pretty warm out there today, but this evening it's kind of cooled off a bit.
Yeah, it was a nice day, a little bit cooler than we saw yesterday, and not too bad out there right now. We're looking at clear skies, those temperatures in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and still some 70s across the state. Closer to home, we're looking at temperatures in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. 54 in Midland, 59 in Odessa, 47 in Marfa. That's our coolest spot right now, 65 in Presidio. Winds overall not too bad, anywhere from being calm to about 10 miles per hour. So we had those breezy conditions today and yesterday, so we're finally starting to see things calming down there. Satellite and radar, we do have a few clouds, especially for areas to the south, but otherwise quiet and clear skies out there. For tonight, going to be on the cool side, going to be actually a nice night, especially since we've had a couple of warm nights the past couple of nights. Over the next 3 days, though, we are going to see those temperatures warming back up. Tomorrow, though, going to be mild temperatures, a little bit cooler than we're seeing today, but then back into the 70s, 80s, and 90s as we head into the new week.
Thank you, Sawyer. According to ReFed, a nonprofit that tracks food waste in the U.S., Texans threw out 5.6 million tons of food waste in 2022. With that much food waste going to waste, one app is looking to end food waste, not just across the country, but the world. Too Good To Go just made its way to Texas last March and has been slowly gaining attention across the state. Businesses can sign up to be on the app, and when they have food left over, they can sell it at a cheaper price. One of the stores that signed up is Texas's very own H-E-B True Texas Barbecue in Midland. At the end of the night, True Texas Barbecue sells what would be an $18 bag worth of food for just $6.
So it definitely gives you a great bang for your buck. We have a lot of different opportunities to continue to serve our community, and this is a great way that we do that. So depending on what our restaurant is able to serve throughout the day will ultimately determine to what we have available for the end of the night, whether it's one of our great cobblers, some of our famous mac and cheese, maybe some fresh smoked turkey. You know, we definitely have some great options to give.
According to the West Texas Food Bank in the Permian Basin, roughly 48,000 individuals suffer from food insecurity. And with services like Too Good To Go, they help lower the price of a meal. If you're a local business that would be interested in signing up, you can go to our website at CBS7.com to learn more. And across West Texas, the city of Midland is commemorating Black History Month by highlighting locals who made a difference in the community. In this video from the city, Community Development Manager Isaac Garnett tells the story of a Midlander who made an impact on his life.
There are a lot of people who have an impact, who had an impact and still do have an impact on my life. I had the pleasure of growing up on the 1200 block of East Cuthbert, and I can truly say that we had a community, a village concept. Every person in the block took care of each other. No one was extraordinarily rich or wealthy, but the block provided for the whole of the community. And one person who stands out amongst many was Galveston Zachary Sr. And Galveston Zachary Sr. was the caretaker of Midland Memorial Stadium in the 70s and 80s. He had 9 boys, and my family's large as well. And so all the boys would play in the street and on the vacant lots that were available. And Mr. Zachary would guide us and teach us not only sports skills, but skills on how to be a good young person, a good citizen. And, you know, I started learning football from watching him. He practiced with his kids and practiced with my brothers. And so I fell in line with all the rest of the kids in the neighborhood. And he would allow us to drive up to Midland Memorial Stadium, which my family didn't have an automobile. And we would ride with them as he go to work in the morning. We would go and play around the field and play on the field as he's taking care of it. He was a great influence in our family and in my life because he taught me things like how to play baseball, how to play football, and how to get in a proper athletic stance and understand that, you know, this is a game that you play together, and sportsmanship is really important. Unfortunately, in the early 80s, he passed away, and that's why the Miller Memorial Stadium has a baseball field named after him. So it's that kind of influence in the block that kept all of us in line, kept us, out of trouble, and having a number of activities. So that's where the foundation came from, along with other members in our community. And I can't explain how influential that was for me and other kids, not only me, but other kids in the block, to learn from him, to understand how to be a young man of good standing. And that's one of the things that I love and still adore today. And he was a very humble man, a man who came from a third grade education, but he had a wisdom about him and a humbleness, and he always encouraged us to complete school, because education was key in knowing what it would do for your life later on. And he's the one that gave us aspirations of going to college and things of that nature. So that's why Galveston Zachary is one of the most influential persons in my life.
In a special report, be sure to tune in to CBS7 News at 10 for a special report by CBS7's Matthew Alvarez titled The Eyes of Texas. Find out how the West Texas VA is working to fill the need of rural eye care in West Texas. Again, that's tonight on CBS7 First Alert News at 10. And turning to your education news, at the last Ector County ISD Board of Trustees meeting, changes were made for some elementary schools. The CISD Board of Trustees voted unanimously for a kindergarten to 5th grade attendance boundary for 2 elementary schools, the repurpose of one school and expanding the attendance boundary for another. It may sound confusing, and that's because it is. Pease Elementary serves students from pre-K to 2nd grade. From there, they usually go to its affiliate school, Noel Elementary, and attend the 3rd to 5th grades. Now those 2 schools work to K to 5 schools like they were in the back in 2017-18 school year.
And so we had parents that would drop a younger student off, or their younger child off at one school, and then drive the other child off to a second one. And so inconveniencing the family. And then academically, we know that the more transitions a child has, the more they are affected in their academic journey.
Meanwhile, Burleson Elementary will be repurposed into a pre-kindergarten center. The students going there currently will be rezoned to attend Noel or San Jacinto Elementary. The board will have future discussions on Zavala and Travis Elementary, and these changes are set to be coming this August. And still ahead, Odessa College is celebrating 40 years. Up next, we'll tell you all about how they're honoring their past. Odessa College's rodeo program is celebrating its 40th anniversary this weekend, and they'll be competing in an NIRA Wrangler Rodeo competition. For the 40th anniversary, 18 competitors from colleges and universities from Texas and New Mexico are coming to the Coliseum to compete for glory, and the student athletes want to make a name for themselves. OC rodeo athletes will be competing in bull riding, barrel racing, team roping, and more. On Saturday night, the program is planning to honor the past by celebrating former alumni and coaches' accomplishments.
It's really amazing to be part of a 40th anniversary. I mean, we've had a lot of people come through here that are really phenomenal, and to be able to go ahead and be a part of that here in the future is amazing.
A win for the Odessa College rodeo team in front of their home crowd would be a huge boost for the athletes. The 40th Odessa College NIRA started today and ends on Saturday.
Well, a little bit cooler weather is ahead for our Friday, but then we are going to see another warm-up as we head into the weekend and into the new week. I'll have all the details and what to expect coming up after the break.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's meteorologist Sawyer McElroy.
Happy Thursday, everybody. It was still a nice day, but a little bit cooler than we saw across the region yesterday. Looking at our observed highs across the state, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Closer to home, we saw those high temperatures in the 70s and 80s as well. 74 in Midland for today, 76 in Odessa, 78 in Fort Stockton, 70 in Marfa. That was our cool spot for today, 78 in Presidio. Current temperatures not too bad out there, down to 54 in Midland, 59 in Odessa, hanging on to some 60s in some spots such as Pecos, Fort Stockton, and Presidio. Marfa is down to 47. Today was still a little bit breezy, not quite as bad as yesterday, but we saw gusts up to 20, 25 to 30 miles per hour out there. So definitely still a breezy one, but the good news is we are seeing those winds calming out there, anywhere from being calm to about 10 miles per hour. And that's looking to stick with us through our Friday as well. Satellite and radar, mostly clear skies out there. A few clouds for Big Bend National Park, Presidio, near Ozona. But other than that, looking pretty good out there for tonight. We are going to see a little bit of cloud cover, especially as we head into the early morning hours of our Friday. And then once again, as we get into tomorrow evening as well. So overall, we're going to see a little bit more cloud cover than we've seen the past couple of days, but quiet conditions continuing for our Friday. It's going to be a little bit of a chilly start to the day. Early morning lows in the 30s and 40s out there. Temperatures a little bit cooler than we saw for today in the 60s and 70s. Looking to see a high of 68 in Odessa, 69 in Midland, 66 in Hobbs, but still hanging on to some warmer temperatures to the south. Presidio looking to see a high of about 78 degrees. Mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies with those more cloud cover for areas to the south and southwest. For our CBS7 First Alert exclusive 10-day forecast, said tomorrow's a little bit of a cool down, but then we start to see another warming trend in the future. Saturday temperatures back into those mid 70s, Sunday into the 80s, and look at Monday's high temperature, 90 degrees. That is the current record for the daily high temperature for that date. So if we hit that forecasted high, we'll at least tie it. If we get warmer, well, then we're going to break it. Definitely should not be 90 in February, but I digress. Looking at as we head through the rest of the week, some breezy and windy conditions as our next front rolls through on Wednesday, knocking those temperatures to where they should be for this time of year in the 60s. And, well, precipitation chances still none in the forecast.
Thank you, Sawyer. And with that warmer weather, it means time for spring vacation. But people are planning ahead and flights are selling out fast. We've got those details up next. Air travel is flying high in 2024. The upcoming spring break season will be no exception, but sold-out flights to some destinations may surprise passengers. Karen Kafa explains why some cities are eclipsing others when it comes to spring travel.
Americans are ready for spring and a break.
People are ready to take advantage of school closures and get out of cold climates and go find some warmth.
In addition to sun and fun, Christy Hudson of Expedia says they've found different destinations trending for spring 2024.
Not only are people headed to the kind of typical spring break destinations, but there's also a major event happening during the spring break window.
A total solar eclipse is set to cross North America on April 8th, and U.S. cities within the path of totality like Dallas, Indianapolis, even Cleveland expect a boost during a busy time.
That is the busiest and priciest time to fly during the spring season. You can get better rates by flying at the very beginning of March or the very end of April.
Going.com travel expert Katie Nastro also recommends flexibility since breaks and demand vary.
So say, for example, your children's spring break is end of March, but a city sort of nearby, an airport that you could sort of fly out of, their school schedule is, say, a week or two later. You can actually sort of use that to your advantage.
Nastro also says to look for best fares now.
You want to just make sure you're doing yourself a favor and just circling 21 days out from when you're looking to fly as your absolute book by date.
And price out an itinerary with 2 one-way fares, maybe even on different airlines or to different nearby airports to see if it's cheaper than a round trip. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Still ahead, the world's oldest dog is not actually the world's oldest dog. We've got the details up next. All right, before we go, Sawyer, I've got some kind of crazy news for you.
All right.
The late dog that was once known as the world's oldest dog ever has been stripped of the title. Bobby unfortunately died last year, reportedly at the age of 31. However, Thursday, Guinness World Records announced that after a review, the organization does not have the evidence it needs to support Bobby's claim. According to his owner, Bobby lived his whole life in Portugal, roaming freely without a leash or chain. And for now, it is not clear who holds the title of the oldest dog ever. Can you imagine getting that title and then dying and then it being taken away from you because they don't have your birth certificate?
I mean, I don't know if birth certificates for dogs are a thing. However, do you not take your dog to the vet every year? Because, I mean, that's something
It's not like tree stumps where they have rings to tell you. I don't know if the vet can know. I don't think that's how it works.
Well, but usually you take your dog to the vet for like a checkup every year.
Yeah, but they guesstimate. They need the birth certificate.
I guess. I don't
They
know.
need to find the dog birth certificate. And it's hard to get a human birth certificate, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how hard it is to get the dog one, too.
Oh, no. Well, that's sad. Poor
He
Bob.
doesn't get the title. He's
Poor
very
Bobby.
cute. He looks like the world's oldest dog.
He looks like a little bear.
Oh, he does. He's very cute. All right, well, thanks for watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW. We've got more news coming up tonight on CBS7 News at 10.